let's talk about some myths. What about buying trade lines? Is that a way to improve your credit score?
So it's a way to improve your credit score, not borrowing power most of the times. Like there in 2000, I want to say 9, if my memory serves correct, there was something called the anti-abuse law that came, that released, right, pertaining to FICO scores. And what that is it's because people had overdone the trade lines and purchasing trade lines and trying to piggyback off other people's credit history that were not like family. What happens is if you do not share an address with a person, if you don't share a last name, or basically if the system thinks that this person is not related to you, it'll automatically omit that card from your score. You will see it on your credit report. You will see, you may, and Credit Karma is probably going to have you believing that your score is a lot higher than it is. However, within the algorithm, it's not going to credit you for that. So I personally I don't recommend buying trade lines. There's just so many other things that you can do with the money to build your own credit profile.
Okay. What about credit repair? A lot of credit repair companies and different tactics. Some people report fraud on their thing, saying like they didn't use the card for this, and that's like a way to kind of get credit. So what's some of the myths about credit repair and credit repair tactics?
I can go on and on about this topic. Because I am in a credit education space, especially online, my timeline is usually filled with a lot of like videos about credit and credit repair specifically, right? When it comes to credit repair, number one, let me just say this. The worst thing you can do when you are challenging accounts on your credit report is say that account was not yours. This account is fraud. This account does not belong to me. This account belongs to X, Y, and Z. That is the worst type of dispute, simply because that's the easiest thing for the credit bureaus to prove. So the second that and not only that, as long as they can prove, if you're claiming that this account is not yours, if the credit bureaus can prove that this account is relevant to you, and they all they have to do is match 3 points of information. It could be your last name, your zip code, your address. As long as they can match 3 points of information to that account, not only have you ruined your chances of probably ever getting that account deleted and removed, you also you can't re-challenge it. Like you remove yourself from being able to properly challenge an account or challenge your credit report because you lied, essentially, right? And also, like I said, it's a very easy thing for them to prove. I would never suggest that you challenge your credit reports that way unless it's true fraud. Especially because there are so many other ways that you can challenge it legally, ethically, and also that abides by the consumer laws. And that'll increase your chances of actually getting the account removed or fixed.
So what are some of those ways?
Number one, I personally recommend, because I do teach, I hate to say credit repair because like I said, I don't even like the stigma attached to it. However, when it comes to your credit report, I am a firm believer that you are, and the consumer laws tells us this, that you as a consumer, we have the right to request validation for every single account on our credit report, right? Now, the accounts that you want to request validation from are typically going to be like the negative ones, right? If you have any collections, if you have charge-offs, if you have late payments, challenge the validity of that account. Simply, all you have to do is ask for an investigation. That's just under FCRA 611. The first letter should always be, hey, I'm requesting an investigation on this account. Never make assumptions or accuse the company of anything, especially not the first round, right? You just simply say, hey, I want you to investigate this account and let me know what you find. I have a few reasons to believe this account may not be all the way accurate, so investigate it for me, right? So as opposed to saying this account is not mine, all you're simply doing is making sure that it is accurate. Just because an account is yours doesn't mean that it can't get removed legally. There are 37 other things that can be wrong with this account per the Metro 2 compliancy laws, in terms of credit reporting, that can legally get the account removed, and even if it's your account, right? So ask for an investigation. Once that comes back, and the credit bureaus will typically say like, hey, we investigated it, we verified it, right? You just assume that they're going to do that because they do. The second round should always be following up on your investigation. Again, FCRA 611, Section 611 tells us that if we do not agree with an investigation request, we can ask for a reinvestigation. The thing with a reinvestigation is now you can request proof. Now you can say, hey, I don't know if this is all the way right. So as opposed to you just telling me that this account is verified, I need proof. If it's a collection, I need a letter from the original creditor that claims ownership over the collection agency, that shows that they transfer that ownership, right? A lot of times collection agencies can't produce that. A lot of times, 90% of the time, collection agencies don't actually have all of the information that they need to properly validate an account, right? So challenging that aspect of it and challenging paperwork will usually get you a deletion legally. And you don't have to worry about, oh my God, when is this account going to come back? Or, things like that. Like, you don't have to worry about that. If you challenge it properly, then it's fine.
Can we stay in that vein?
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of like a two-part question, and maybe it's a myth, and you could probably debunk it. But what you're speaking on, if it doesn't come off, then it becomes a derogatory item on your credit, right? So like we talked about late payments, we talked about collections. Talk about the timeline, right? Because people were like, well, I made one late payment, but like from my understanding, that late payment stays on the report for 7 years, right? Is that still true? Like
it's true. That's a good question. So late payments. A late payment is going for the life of that account on your credit report. As long as that account is on your credit report, that late payment is going to be on that account, right? However, the last 3 years of our credit profile is what's most impactful on our credit scores, right? So if you have a late payment, number one, you should be asking for a goodwill adjustment from the company if the account is still open. That's the first step. Hey, you go directly to the company. Hey, I made a mistake. I got a late payment. Are you able to forgive this late payment? If they forgive it, then it'll be as though it never happened. They'll update the credit bureaus. The late payment is going to be removed from your account or from your credit report, and you'll gain all the points back. If you're in a situation where you can't get your late payment removed, here's the thing. One late payment equals 11 on-time payments, right? So to undo the impact of that one late payment, you need 11 on-time payments in the same category. So if it's a late payment on a credit card, until you get 11 other on-time payments on credit cards, then you're not really, like, the points will just be gone. The credit profile, the damage that it does to your credit profile is going to still be present. It cancels out one another, essentially, once you get 11 on-time payments. So if you're a person who has 10 late payments, your goal should be making sure that you, for the next 11 months, or basically, I just say the next year, hopefully no late payments ever again, but 11 on-time payments cancels out one late payment.